I'm trying to like, and you know how they have like the rap interruption, the rap feature in the song. You're like listening to a song, then all of a sudden somebody comes in. You know, it's like the sweetest song ever, and then all of a sudden somebody comes in, and they're like,
Tony.
and it's like,
Oh, y'all heard Slave House?
which name a few others.
Slave House. Talk Too Much. That's a very good one when I come in like
What's your most recent?
My most recent feels like I definitely come in there and change the vibe.
Josie G.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. So what I'm saying is I would like to go back to the sweet melody of the podcast and talk about the topic we came to discuss.
Take it into the
Fay, Tony's sister, Fay here is featured today. Tony, can you please ask Fay some of the questions you came prepared with?
I came with no prepared questions. We're going right off the cuff. Fay is my sister and a licensed LPN. She has a business that she is starting. And we're here to talk about elder care because Ann Arbor is a city that treats its elders well. And that is what my sister is all about. She's been in the business for years now. And I'll let her tell you a little bit more about her journey as a nurse.
Well, so I started off actually in the kitchen. Before I even became a nurse, I started off in the kitchen at an assisted living. I washed dishes. It was a wonderful thing. Like, actually, I loved it. I got to interact with the residents, taking orders and, just chit-chatting with them, feeding if necessary. Then I moved on to being a caregiver, then a med tech, CNA. Then I became a nurse. Nursing school was crazy. Everybody knows everything happens when you're in nursing school. Seems to be the same thing when you're starting a business, but we're getting there.
Yeah. What you need in both instances is a village. Whether, you're somebody who's a mom like my sister, or you're just, somebody trying to get through it. You need your little village, have your study buddies in school, and I've seen secondhand through, watching you on social media that you have a lot of people who you not only went to school with, but have worked with throughout the years who, you stay connected with, and you guys still talk about the industry. What's the good, bad, and great about the industry?
The good. Let's start with the good. So the good part about the industry is, honestly, for me, it's old people. I love old people. Some people are into dealing with children. Some people just like the intensity of it, having to deal with emergencies. I feel like that was me in the beginning. Now I'm older and I rather like consistency, and so there's not a lot of consistency. That is the downfall now that healthcare has kind of taken a turn for the worse, honestly. I'm just being short-staffed and turnover. It's harder for people to get the care that they need. So the business that I'm starting not only helps place people into assisted livings, nursing homes, group homes, home health care companies, so people can get cared inside their own homes, but we also help to kind of assist with resources so that management can make their jobs a little bit easier. So we do things as far as for HR, we may do things as far as collecting resumes so that they don't have to go out into the field or sign up to all these different
recruitment services and places like Indeed.
Correct. So that's one of the things. Volunteers is also people that we gather for them so that they don't have to go out into the community and search for them. Because volunteers are a big, big part of assisted livings. They help out a lot. Activities, different entertainers, different things in the community that the elderly can go out and do. Those are the things that we kind of bring to them so that they don't have to do as much digging.
Streamline the process and just make it easier so they have a lighter workload, because half of the problem is the heavy workload that people within the industry have to deal with because of what you said, staffing issues and such.
And even when you are staffed, if everything happens in nursing, you could be having an amazing day and then all of a sudden something happens and now you're behind for the rest of the day. So as long as we can keep everybody kind of stable and consistent, then I feel like everything should function pretty good.
That sounds good. So, what gave you the idea of doing this besides, being in the industry?
So, like I said, I've been a floor nurse, a clinical nurse for so long. I kind of just got burnt out. I ended up having a baby and taking care of my mom kind of all at the same time. She did go to a nursing home and I ended up kind of getting her back into my care. But just going through the process of dealing with so many people just trying to take advantage of her is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you hear about people taking advantage of elderly people, but
to be in the situation with your own parent
is crazy. I could have all the proper paperwork and they're still looking at me like I'm the person trying to steal or whatever, get down on my mom in any kind of way. And it's crazy. Like, I've been through so much and I don't know. I just like to help people have a smooth journey, educate them as much as I can on what to do, how to do it.
So not only transitioning into elderly care facilities, but also making it easier if you want to transition your parent out of their home into your home or out of elder care into your home because you see some issues that you are concerned about.
Yeah, we will be doing seminars on just kind of helping you guys with different interventions that you guys can do or different devices that you guys can use to kind of help make your mother or father's life easier to keep them in the house longer.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that we'll be teaming up with different senior care services, centers, and different other organizations.
There's lots of nonprofits in the area that are great resources for anybody who's in that situation, whether you're elderly or, not. There are a lot more people in our situation where we're millennials and, they need care and home.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even believe in nursing homes or assisted livings, and I don't feel like everybody should be pushed to that. Some people should be. Sometimes family dynamics are not amazing, but that's something that you definitely have to kind of investigate into in placing people into different situations. So,
do you think that's something you see a lot of them trying to push people into care who have family that could be stepping up or are volunteering to step up?
Yeah, but at the same time, everybody's life is different. Everybody's temperament and not everybody can handle certain things. So sometimes assisted livings or nursing homes are a better situation for people. Mm-hmm. Just coming up there and visiting them is a better situation than them kind of getting on your nerves or, putting in danger or a safety issue.
Do they have part-time care facilities?
So that would be more so a day center.
Okay.
So they do have day centers. The ones around here, probably the biggest one is PACE, but that's more of a state-ran facility.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an all-inclusive program. So that's not something that you can just go without being in their program.
Okay. So I just wasn't sure if they had something like that. I don't know. I just not aware.
Yeah, the state actually just started a new program where they're paying for a certain amount of hours for elderlies to be in day centers to kind of give caregivers a break. So if you're a family member that's taking care of a loved one in your home, they're giving them a certain amount of hours, because I get that, to put your loved one in a daycare, essentially. They'll be playing games or such, but
I think it's just important to have a social aspect as you get older. Being in the house and only seeing family has to be very lonely if you're somebody who's used to being social before you ended up in a situation where you needed care. I have worked with elderly as well professionally, and I found that a lot of them really enjoy just talking to a stranger or talking to somebody who is younger sometimes, talking to somebody who they can share their knowledge with. and telling their stories. So I feel like it's really important for them at that age to get out of the house and have some type of social aspect. Just like exercising. You don't use it, you lose it.
Now, my perspective on this conversation is a little bit different than yours because I'm usually helping them move out of a house, which to some people don't realize your family is not always thinking. They have a lot going on in their life, just like you do. And y'all have a lot to unpack and pack.
Right.
So it's a high emotional time. Sometimes emotionally volatile, sometimes emotionally absent, sometimes just dismissive. Sometimes it can be loving and kind and gentle, and but you have to focus on a few things. Well, the first thing lies within what your parents have done. You know, have they set up a trust? Have they made it easier on the family to get documents signed, or do you have to be in court proceedings to have your legal representative? And Faye, I'm sure you could talk more about this. We got to have a whole nother podcast on that. We could probably have some lawyers. So signatures are important, and things can't be done without signatures. So it can be a challenge if things are not set up properly in order that the transition is easier for the entire family, and everybody's going through all the different things. But most importantly here, the people who have moved into the new space, there's a good chance that the house was the longest relationship they've ever had in their life, because you know our pets pass away, our children move out, we might get a divorce, our spouse might have passed away, but the house, people have an emotional attachment to their homes. I have emotional attachment to a lot of homes. I've lived in like 15 different places. I might not be built like you, but I still understand the joy and comfort. And, you know, I remember the different things that I see looking out of the windows in a lot of different places, and you get attached to that. And maybe there are birds and squirrels that visit you every year, you know, like you might be living like
seriously, I feel like that's how my mom was, and that's kind of her relationship with her home. So that's kind of why I felt like nursing home wasn't really for her. She was going to decline because of that. On top of that, the place she was at wasn't really her speed. We didn't really get an option of where to place her. She just kind of got put somewhere random, wherever Pace, because that's who she was through, kind of put her, and they were all kind of trying to put all of their people in the same place so that it was easy for Pace to take care of him versus what was best for the patient or the resident. So a lot of stuff does play into part with that, and I definitely feel like the home is a big part of, like, you know, people have to be adjusted. So if they're comfortable, it's all about their mindset. So if they're happy, they know their parents.
Yeah, mindset.
You know, like how you moved several times. So moving isn't a big thing for you.
Well, and I also know how to make it an easy thing for other people.
Right.
But some people just think that moving is hard. So if they go into moving, they're like, oh, here I go, moving again for the fourth time in my life. And I just need to take charge and be in control of everything. Right. But it's not your house. You're having the pleasure and opportunity of helping someone transfer their, like, you know, Americans are like the Little Mermaid. How we have all of our precious little things sitting on our little shelves and our fork for our hair, you know, and with that, you just have to be gentle in the transition, and you really have to recognize what are the things that are important to them, and what do they just like to touch, because the hardest thing for them, as you know, is they're losing some of their senses, like their five senses. They're losing the ability to feel their senses in the same way that they did before. And they're losing their spatial relationships and their place in time sometime.
Definitely.
So taking and putting a person into a new environment can be a shocking transition and very frightening and fraught with anxiety, and you're completely out of control and everything's new and you were having a hard time with the things that you were already familiar with.
Yeah, just think of like when you stay the night at your friend's house and you wake up like, where the heck am I? You freak out a little.
Call my mom.
Right, you freak out a little bit like, where am I? Oh, right, I'm at such and such house.
So I'm basically saying I would prefer the opportunity to help and take care of the people in my life, right? But I know that abilities and wants and needs are different,
right.
you know. So I'm the choice that the person has to make for their own family. But I definitely think that you have to look at all the different viewpoints, but mindset is of definite consideration. I'm usually honestly just you know, I always say I'm like a glorified waiter. I show up, yes, ma'am, and I'm here, you know, to work for my client. What would you like, client? And I will go ahead and do the things that you need to have happen. It's just sometimes uncomfortable because identifying who your client is when your client is an entire family. So I always want to know from the title company who's signing, number one. And then I ask the person who's signing who is considered in the conversation. Right. And then I create all conversations and group conversations. So nobody has to say, well, I talked to so-and-so and they said, and I talk. How about I talk to everybody? Now y'all talk to each other and then come back to me and give me my marching orders. Thank you very much. Yes. And if you want to ask me how to make a move smoother and when you want to involve me and care to consider some of the connections that I have with like the Get Up. You remember we talked with the Get Up, hashtag the Get Up in this for you on the side.
Yes,
go thumbs up to the Get Up, call the Get Up, put their conversation, their at in their phone number or so in their address. So people can, because they're
part of the team when you're in a situation like this.
Yeah. Cause they can come, because, you know, grandma doesn't want to get rid of her Diane von Furstenberg trust
from
right
1970,
right? But if she can get maybe, you know, $40 for it, knowing that the store will probably sell it for 120 or maybe 60 and they'll sell over 100, you know, you can negotiate these things. How bad do you want the dress?
Right.
But no, but they I would expect that they would be taking a lot of things and putting them to a new and good home, and they clean everything and it goes to a seamstress. Yeah, they've taken care and consideration, you know, as we all do. Fay is the sweet Fay who has a sweet baby Fay. So I didn't know if we were doing the podcast tonight on this topic or if it was going to be my daughter Autumn, who was here earlier, who's not here now, and your daughter Fay talking about their experiences at their different Ann Arbor public school. Because Tony, well, I hear that
she's worse than me. Let's talk to her about somebody she likes.
You hear? I think that people need to pull up their entrepreneurial skills and get their George Washington Carver on. I think everybody needs to be ingenious and come up with great ideas and use ingenuity and their talents and their skills in order to become a better self during this.
We have all the tools. Can you imagine if George Washington Carver had ChatGPT
for free?
What he came up with without it?
So now you're an editor, not a writer. Or now you're a writer who is then edited and then changed into your voice and then re-edited and tweaked and changed into your own different types of blog.
You're an imaginator now.
Oh.
We are imaginators.
Anything that you can imagine, you can create. Okay, that's another podcast. That's a good one, yeah. Anything you can imagine, you can create. I believe in that. I'm a believer.
Absolutely.
What do you believe in? Your imagination.
Like SpongeBob.
Your imagination. Your imagination. Puppy.
So, back on topic. So, people are going to be listening to this podcast and they're going to be like, oh, I might be somebody who could benefit from this service, or I want to be somebody who partners with Fay first to, help make this service a better resource for the people out there. How can they get in contact with you?
SeniorCenteredLiving.com. Our phone number, 734-519-7930. I have an email, seniorcenteredliving@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on my website. If you're in desperate need, or if you're in the hospital looking for care and you need it immediately, not desperately need, but if you need immediate care, you can get onto our website, fill out a form, and somebody will be there to do a video assessment. So we do video assessments. That's what makes us different. That kind of cuts down on the time, as you know, for nurses to go out and do assessments on people that aren't even adequate for their facility. Nursing homes will be able to see what additional care is needed so that they can, document appropriately and collect all their coins. We're great. You should come.
So once again, you can go to our website, get more information if you're in need of care immediately. If you're in a hospital and you're going to be looking for a place to go when you're discharged, you can go directly to the website, fill out the form, and get your process started.
You can contact us before you leave the hospital so that we can do the assessment and you guys can transition straight from the hospital into your new lovely place. You're able to look at the facilities online so you can kind of see where you're going before you get there. We try to make everything as convenient as possible for everybody in the process.
Fay is basically like your Ann Arbor senior concierge.
Social workers, please contact me. We need your contact. You can have forms so that you can have your clients fill out, or you can fill out yourself. And like I said, we'll be right there to do your assessment and get them placed as quickly as possible.
I'm excited. For you to take this journey on this business venture. I have been in business for years and years and years and years, and this is my sister's first journey really getting deep into business.
Yes, it is a journey.
All right, guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to Ann Arbor Hub Podcast. This is Swag Right Tony here with my sister,
Fay, LPN.
Hey, and of course, the lovely
Tanya Hill. Here's what's up. In the comments, if you could please enter any business grants that you're aware of running currently in 2025, or grants that you are accustomed to seeing annually. I did not ask that you enter business loans. We want grants here. We do not want to take out loans to start our business. We want to take out grants. We want to scrimp and save our pennies. We want to do this ourselves. Or maybe a family bank. A family bank? You know what I'm saying? That's how Motown was started.
Grants, minority grants.
Just grants. Why even focus on just that? Focus on all the business grants.
We'll take all of them, but she qualifies for the women in the minorities. So send those.
Let's get.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
We still have the opportunity, so people will continue to fight for a little bit of balance, people. All right. Have a great day.
Peace out, Ann Arbor.